So Joe Biden is honestly way, way worse than any of us could have imagined. I want you to take a look at this article here. Joe Biden's road to a third presidential bid has been lined with a series of explanations and apologies illustrating the challenges of preparing a long record of public service for fresh scrutiny under the spotlight of the 2020 campaign. Yet he rarely discusses one of the earliest and most controversial issues he championed to the Senate: his fight against busing to desegregate schools. What? It was more than 4 decades ago, as a battle raged across the country and in Congress over sending white students to majority black schools and black students to majority white schools, often far away from their own neighborhoods. Biden forcefully opposed the government's role in trying to integrate schools, saying he favored desegregation but believed busing did not achieve equal opportunity. In a series of never-before-published letters from Biden, which were reviewed by CNN, the strength of his opposition to busing comes into sharper focus, particularly how he followed the lead of and sought support from some of the Senate's most fervent segregationists. To this day, he defends this. And to this day, he says, well, I'm in favor of desegregation, just the way that they want to go about desegregating is not the way I'm really down for it. Oh, really, Joe? How would you have done it? Because my reading of what this situation is very simple. They were trying to desegregate stuff by actually desegregating stuff. What was your plan? I'm in favor of it in theory, bro, but like in reality and stuff, you just gotta let it happen and whatnot. This reminds me of like the I'm for Medicare for all but crowd, and there's a lot of them in the Democratic primary this year. Yeah, I'm for Medicare for all but. What do you mean but? Why are you adding the but there? What's the but got to do with anything? Well, I'm for but people, the private insurance companies, you let them, people should be able to stay on that and stuff. Millions and millions and millions of people are on private insurance. There's no way you're going to get to Medicare for all without fundamentally changing the system. You can allow for supplemental private insurance, but the overwhelming majority of people that currently have private insurance are going to be off it, and they're going to get better care, and it's going to cost less, and they're going to have better health outcomes. So you're not for Medicare for all. You're just saying that word, and then you're going on to explain how your policy is not that. Well, that's what Biden did with desegregation. I support desegregation, except Yes, I support desegregation, except I literally oppose desegregation. Now, to be fair to Biden, he did, support other, civil rights pieces of legislation that were cornerstone pieces of legislation. So I don't want to oversell it here as if he was somehow wrong on every issue when it came to civil rights. That's factually wrong. On many of the civil rights issues, he was on the right side. However, kind of a big one if you ask me. Like busing desegregation? Nah, I'm against that one. And by the way, the letters show, what's his name? I think it's Senator Eastman. I think. Mississippi hardcore segregationist who openly spoke about how blacks are inferior, in his words. Biden wrote a fawning letter to that guy thanking him for his support of his position on this. Compare and contrast. Bernie Sanders literally marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., literally marched in the civil rights movement, chained himself to a black woman who was being arrested for protesting segregation. And Joe Biden was arguing against busing desegregation. And now they're both about to run in the same primary. And Americans are going to have a choice between the dude who marched with MLK and his entire life was on the right side of this, no questions asked, and the guy who, hey, sometimes you slip, sometimes you fall, sometimes accidents happen, sometimes you support segregation on buses. What are you going to do? It's an accident. Look past it. No. How about that? When given an option in 2019 in a Democratic primary, here's my general rule of thumb. Don't go with the one who supported segregation on, any issue.